Hello, welcome back. A time now for Media Watch, for which I'm joined by James Creedon. Hello, James.
Good evening.
Now, some sad news for Newsweek. It is ceasing its print edition as of the end of this year, I believe.
That's right. It's all over for an 80-year-old institution of the US media. Let's take a look back at some of the front pages before we talk about what that might signal for the print media. You've got the very first edition, which was in 1933, signalling the rise of fascism. You can see the swastika flags on the front cover. This one was during the war, actually. Circulation now over 500,000 net paid. And so you can see it was just on the up at the time. And apparently it was very difficult to get breaking news on the front page of these magazines back then because the horse and cart and the whole lot. And, you know, it was a much slower time. Here you have just at the bottom of this Newsweek cover, I thought this was a sign of the times. Yeah. The Jap, how long can he take it? Right, this is in the middle of the war. The Jap is a totally politically incorrect reference to Japanese people, but this was wartime USA, wartime world. I suppose it was a world war, right?
Yeah.
Here you've got Martin Luther King. I think that's an incredible.
That's a big picture,
front
isn't it?
page cover. Actually, is showing the grief of, I don't know, is that a relative or just an African American woman? I just think that's a really powerful front page. And then you had covers such as this: Disco Takes Over, 1979, The First Woman in Space. That's Sally Ride with that big 80s hair. And you know, you could go on. Super America is Winning and Why, and of course, the DSK made Speaks. That was more recent. That was a more recent front cover, obviously.
It was, and a very big one here in France, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Turning your attention now to Britain,
Yes.
and the story of a blind man tasered by police who made a big mistake.
That's right, he certainly did, Louise. We'll basically take a look at pictures of this guy first. And what happened was he was walking along in a town in Lancashire by the name of Chorley. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but
I am actually. It's a nice northern town as well.
Apparently, you have some people going around with samurai swords on occasion, and this is what happened. And the police confused this guy with his cane for a criminal with a samurai sword. Let's take a listen to what he thought of this rather peculiar incident.
Having had 2 strokes already caused by stress, when these volts were going through me, I dropped the stick. I did involuntary. And I collapsed.
So there you go. Pretty incredible mistake to make.
I really
Louise,
don't understand how they can mistake that for a samurai sword.
And if you actually look across the media today, people are extremely critical of that incident. The Spectator magazine, if I could pull it up, they've said Lancashire police taser a blind man. He's lucky to be alive, which is true. It was a big health issue.
That's not a good headline.
Others will not be so lucky. 45% rise in the use of taser guns in the UK last year. It's projected that there could be a similar rise in the next year to come. And a man suffering from Alzheimer's was recently tasered by the police in an incident where he became unruly. And they're very, very dangerous. There has already been 1 death in the UK as a result of tasers, so not to be taken lightly. It's a kind of funny story because it was confused with a cane, but revelatory of a real concern.
Absolutely, a very serious question as well, because it is very controversial using taser guns in Britain. So
that's right.
It's not a good headline for the police there at all.
Can we just go back for a sec, Louise, to Newsweek, because another piece of news that came out today, The Guardian could also be going out of print, or its print edition could be cancelled sooner than was thought. Back in 2005, when they installed a new printing machines, it was already said at the time that these would probably be the last printing machines. But if we take a look at this Forbes article, they're saying Newsweek goes all digital. How long before The Guardian follows suit? And indeed, just in terms of discussing Newsweek tactics, they tried to have a lot of shock covers in the last year or so. This was Diana brought back from the grave, I suppose. Hit the road Barack, an editorial piece put on the front page, saying time for Barack Obama to leave power. And of course, that awful front page that generated an awful lot of criticism, Muslim rage. Now, Tina Brown, who is the editor of Newsweek, previously at The New Yorker, tried this shock tactic. For BuzzFeed, interestingly, they have a piece saying, don't blame her. She was fighting a losing battle, basically. She was trying to use the whole viral image effect to raise sales in an industry where sales are just falling and there's nothing much you can do about it. And, it didn't work because the images might have gone viral, but it didn't bring the story or the magazine with it. What they're also saying in this article is that the next thing to get shop, so to speak, could be the front page of news websites, because they are quite static often, with stories that don't necessarily evolve massively throughout the day. And now more and more we're getting our news from social media and from sharing articles, etc. So it's to have a static front page of a news website is trying to, I suppose, mimic the news magazine, and these are now, things are moving so quickly, and you don't source necessarily your news on the front page of a news website. You might actually source it on social media. So they're saying that from the front page of websites need to be much more fast paced. Then again, some people would say we need to chill it out, we need to, and it's nice to have editors and newspapers making the decisions for us sometimes in terms of what story is important.
That's it, and I don't know about you, but there's no replacement for actually holding a magazine or paper in your hand and smelling it and turning the pages.
In particular on a train trip, or, you know, even in the bus. Now, speaking of front pages, get a load of this, right? This is one front page that has got a lot of comment today. This is the Minister for Economic Regeneration, Arnaud Montebourg, wearing a French sort of marinier, as they call them here, by Jean-Paul Gaultier, with a French blender. And the whole thing was to promote French products and French goods. Now, he's got an awful lot of criticism for that front page, because it's not exactly very ministerial. But there he is on the front page, looking particularly French. All he's missing is a beret and a few onions around the neck. But I suppose he's trying to go for the chic French look.
Well, having spoken about provocative covers, that's definitely one. Thank you very much, James. James Creedon there with our Media Watch. Time for a short break. Do stay tuned, though. More news coming up in just a couple of minutes.